Well, hey everybody, welcome to Young Adult Edition. I am so thrilled to see you guys today. I see that everybody is on the chat room. You know how that works. I am so glad that you are hanging out with us today. And I'm really excited because we have an amazing author with us. She's a good friend of mine. Her name is Sherry Ficklin, and she is the author of Queen of Someday and Queen of Tomorrow and Queen of Always. If you have not read her series, it's amazing. You got to check it out. And before we welcome her, let's get to our intro. Well, hey, Sherry, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to have you. I always love having you on these shows. You hang out with me on my educational channel, RTTV, and I am so excited that you've joined us to hang out with the fans today. How are you doing? How's everything going?
Everything's going great. It's a little nerve-wracking. My laptop died the other day, so we're kind of working through some technical glitches with the new laptop. So hopefully it'll be great today.
Thankfully, it seems to be cooperating, so we'll see what happens, but yay to new computers, yay that. So, you know, at Young Adult Edition, we have some really fun things that we do. We're going to play some games today, but before we get started, I want to know about your books. Now, I know you have 800,000 books that you have put out because you are just that amazing, but today we're focusing on your series, which is actually, well, I was going to say who it's about, but I'm going to let you do that. So, instead of me saying anything other than it's a really awesome series and you should read it, Sherry, you are going to have 1 minute to tell me all about your books. So I'm going to pull up 1 minute on my phone, and we are going to time you and see if you can get everything we need to know about your book in under 1 minute. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
The Stolen Empire series begins with Queen of Someday, and it is the story of young Sophie, who would become Catherine the Great of Russia. Most people don't know that Catherine the Great wasn't actually Russian. She was a poor German princess, and her family basically sold her to Russia in the hopes that she could catch the eye of the next Tsar. So this is her story. It's a little racy and a little romantic, and I think you guys will love it.
Fantastic. You got that in 33 seconds, so that was pretty good.
Boom! Nailed it.
You did. I clicked the button on my phone and it, instead of stopping, it would have buzzed. So I went back in and shut that off. So yeah, we got that down. And you did it in a fantastic amount of time. You got that very quickly. And again, guys, if you haven't read this, really, really good. You should check it out. So tell me about your week. What is the best thing you have done this week, Sherry?
Just surviving this week has been a heck of an accomplishment. I feel like it was one of those weeks where everything that could go wrong kind of went wrong. Like kids stuff that got canceled and rescheduled, and then work stuff that got canceled and rescheduled. And so it was kind of just juggling all week long. And then my computer died, which was great. And then I got the new computer home finally. I went to the store, got it, brought it home, and then all the keys were broken off. So then I had to go return the new computer and get another new computer. And so I feel like my biggest accomplishment this week was just survival, just pure survival of the fittest this week. It was a cage match, me against the world, and I survived.
You did. And I just want to point out, because I know that we've got some fans hanging out with us, and they may have noticed a slight change in your appearance. So show that off. Go ahead.
I have real red envy. I wanted to be a ginger for Halloween, so I went to my stylist, and I've been black forever, just black hair. So it's she was like, we're gonna have to bleach it. And so for a glorious 2 hours, I had really light pink orange hair before she put the new color in. So it was great. And I didn't take pictures specifically because I was gonna send them to my friend, but she's kind of like, DJ's a little crazy, so I knew she would put them online if I sent them to her. So I did not send any pictures out, but
see,
it happened.
It was gonna say you needed to Snapchat or Instagram stories that, because that would have been epic.
Nobody looks good in a salon chair. I feel like anytime you go to the salon, the second they start doing anything with your hair, you just look like a dwarf from under the bridge. Like, it's just terrible. There's no good in salon picture until after.
You know what? I feel like it's the capes that they make you wear because they're so high up on your neck, and it's just ugh. I think we found the solution.
It's terrible.
That's so funny. Well, listen, I am ready to play some games. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so do you have your confetti with you?
Have it.
Awesome. So I've got my confetti too. Yay that. I've got red confetti because the Queen series is red.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
I was prepared for today. So we are going to play 2 truths and a lie confetti style. So I know you've got some truths and some lies for me. And I am going to guess which one is the lie. And if I get it right, you get to throw confetti at me. So go ahead, give me your first set.
Okay. So my first set of 3 is I have been forcibly removed from the White House 3 times, and I jumped out of a moving helicopter, and I was mauled by a bear in Switzerland.
That really, I feel like that's not fair. If you are in the chat room, maybe help me out here. Let me know what you are thinking. Gosh, see, I can picture you being removed from the White House. I feel like I want the bear thing to have happened, and and the helicopter probably actually happened, but I'm gonna say that's the lie.
No, the helicopter was true. It's, when I was little, I grew up in a military family, and on base, like, I grew up like in the 70s and 80s. So this was like survival of the fittest, even in elementary school. They used to bring helicopters to the schools on base, and they'd float them up about, 10 feet in the air and let you jump out of them onto like mattressy things. Yeah, it was great. So I did that when I was in elementary school. So probably, 9 years old.
That is the most fun thing. All right, so I'm a loser.
I'd never get away with that now. There's no way.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't let you do that. So I've lost. Oh, my confetti didn't fly so well. Oh, well. So tell me, what one was actually the lie?
The lie was the bear in Switzerland. I did go to Switzerland, and they have this famous bear that lives in Bern, Switzerland, and I went to see the bear, and it was dead of winter, and the bear was like gone hibernating somewhere. So I did not even get to see the bear, much less have the opportunity to be mauled by the bear.
Oh, well, that's really sad. Okay, yeah. Well.
Which does mean that the White House thing was also true.
Yeah, that's a story you're going to tell me when we go off air. All right, give me your next set.
Let me look real quick. I wrote them down.
I know you did, but you got to tell me, girl.
I know. I'm sorry. It's so funny. I'm like, I know I wrote these down somewhere. They are.
You got it? You want me to pull it up?
I got it.
Okay.
Sorry. It's just being slow.
That's okay. Technology.
Okay, so my next set is I've never ridden a motorcycle. I own a small goat farm. And as a child, my nickname was Houdini.
What was the first one?
The first one was that I've never ridden a motorcycle.
Never ridden a motorcycle. You own a goat farm. And now I gotta look at it.
Ha! Name was Houdini.
Houdini. Well, I feel like that's legit. I know you've got all sorts of animals, so I'm not gonna worry about that one. So, gosh, I feel like you are the motorcycle kind of girl, though. I'm gonna give me some help in the chat room. Connie, help me out here. What do you think? I'm thinking the motorcycle is a lie.
The motorcycle's true. I have never ridden a motorcycle. I've always wanted to. Never ridden a motorcycle. I do not, however, own a goat farm. I do have lots of chickens, lots of other animals. I have no goats. So.
Wow. Okay. So you win. Awesome. All right. So we have played our 2 truths and a lie. Do you have one more set for me, or are you good?
That's it. That's all I got.
Perfect.
I'm sure I can come up with something. I am a writer.
All right, so our next thing that I want to hear about is your biggest book nerd problem. So the people hanging out with us, we are all book nerds. We are bookish people, and we love everything books, but we know that we have some issues as book nerds. So tell me, what is your biggest book nerd problem?
My biggest book nerd problem is because I'm both a reader and a writer, I can't read other books while I'm actively writing a book, because whatever I read starts to leach over into my current manuscript. For example, I was writing Losing Logan, which is a very contemporary mystery, and I had been rereading Jane Austen, and like I was typing one day and I realized all of my characters suddenly had like British accents, and it was terrible, and I had to delete almost a full chapter of pages because everything was leaching over, so I had to stop. So now I have like a strict no reading while writing policy, so I have to gap. So like I'll be writing something and I'll take a week off to just like binge read for a week and then, you know, go back to writing. So
that is a good point. That is definitely a problem. So I'm glad you figured out that you have that thing and you can take care of it, and then you can binge read, which is the best thing ever. We love binge reading. If you love binge reading, put it over in the chat room, which is on this side for you, and let me know how much you love reading, how many books you read, how often you read. We want to hear what you are doing in your reading life. So now, Sherry, let's talk about your book for a few minutes. I know that this is a really, really involved book, and it is a historical fiction about Catherine the Great. So how did you come up with this concept?
I had been doing research for another book that I was writing, which was like a steampunk time travel book, and we were researching the Romanov family line for that book. And I came across Catherine's story, and I was sort of cursorily familiar with it just from the sort of things that you catch snippets of it in high school or whatever when you're doing history. But the real story of it was so fascinating. It was so much cooler than I could have ever imagined. And I knew that I wanted to figure out how she went from being this kind of really innocent, naive girl to this powerhouse queen who basically stole a country. Like she wasn't even Russian, and suddenly she ruled Russia. Like she deposed her husband, and it was such a cool journey that I really wanted to explore that in a series. And so that was where my love of it, sort of came along. I love stories, love people. So.
Yeah, well, this was actually my introduction to you and your work. So I had miraculously found it on Amazon, and that's how I found you, and I just fell in love with it from the very beginning. It's so fantastic. And so I have to ask, because I have to know this, got a lot of really fun characters in here. Is there one that you maybe love a little bit more than the others? Do you have a favorite or something you can tell us?
Oh, it's so bad. I really love both of the guys. I love Sergei and I love Alexander. And it's sort of funny to me to explore. You have these two relationships, and one is, sort of very infatuation and that sort of first love and that really dangerous, reckless, first love that you have. And then there's another that's sort of the more mature friendship that turns into something else kind of relationship. And I love that. I never wanted it to be a love triangle, but I wanted to really explore the different kinds of relationships and how much you really need both. So that was fun for me. I will say, of all the characters that were in there, the only one that wasn't a real character was Alexander. He was sort of based on a footnote in her actual biography about a young soldier that had fallen in love with her and had gotten sent away. But I loved the idea of playing with what if he hadn't, what if he was still there, what if he was part of her life. So that was the one really fictional addition.
I love that. I didn't know that. I'm not going to lie. I haven't taken a lot of time to research this, and I love that you put so much effort into doing your research. And I know with all of your historical books that you are doing, you put so much effort into researching it. So can you tell me a little bit about your research process?
The research process is really intense. It starts probably anywhere between 2 and 3 months before I put pencil to paper, because I really want to be familiar with the time and the setting and everything before I go in. When you're doing a historical, particularly when you're going back to like 18th century, there are questions that you never think about until you sit down to start writing. Like, did they use forks in the 18th century? Like, and it's things that you take for granted when you're doing something more contemporary. You have to really make sure you've got all that, taken care of, because people will call you on it. People call me on stuff all the time. And the other problem I have is I do take a lot of liberties, even with the actual history. So I will do my research and I know what I'm doing, but then I will make the conscious decision to change things or to adapt things. And I know some people that really bugs and some people don't mind at all. But I'm like, this is just me. This is just how I want the story to go. So.
Hey, listen, people are going to drink your Kool-Aid or they aren't. And the people that do, those are the best fans.
That's right.
So I know this takes place in Russia. Have you ever been there? Have you experienced that? Or is it mostly through your research?
I haven't. It was mostly through the research. I actually had the St. Petersburg Historical Society online. The Hermitage Museum did some really great videos, and they were a really great contact for me. I could like just Facebook message them and ask them questions about, you know, some of the historical stuff or some of the area stuff, and they were really great about helping me out, which was really nice. I always wanted to go. I've just never felt, this sounds terrible, I've never felt like it was a really safe time to travel to Russia for me. Like, I'd love to go, but I keep getting these like security warnings that they're like, oh, Americans shouldn't go here, there, or the other, and somehow Russia's always on that list. So I feel like as much as I love Russia, it might not love me back right now. So
I know, you got to be careful these days. It's so hard. But that is the beauty
especially traveling as a female alone can be tricky sometimes.
Well, you know what? We're just going to plan a great big group trip, and we'll all go together. It'll be great.
Bring it. I'm in.
You could be our tour guide, and we'll walk around and be like, and this took place here, and this was here, and Sergey stood over here.
Perfect. I'm in.
I feel like Connie will be in, too. She's hanging out with us over in the chat room.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Sergey.
That's right. He deserves it. He deserves all the shout outs.
He deserves all the shout outs and all of the confetti. That didn't go so well, but you know what I meant.
Woo!
You totally weren't on screen when you did that. She just threw confetti, guys. Talk and do it again.
Okay. Here's confetti for Sergey.
He deserves all the confetti. Fantastic. Okay, so listen, guys, we are now at the point in our show where we are going to be taking questions. So if you were not here for our intro, you missed my little intro thing, you've already found the chat box. You know where that is. There is a red question mark down at the bottom where you can plug in your questions. And if you hit that red question mark, that is going to inform us that you have a question. So it's going to stand out from the conversation. So if there's other things in the chat room, we're not going to get confused for your questions. So now is your time. If you have a question for Sherry, it can be about her books, it can be about writing, it can be about all of the animals that she lives with at her house. It can be about anything you want. Go ahead and pop those in there. And we are going to be asking Sherry some questions in just a minute. Now, while you guys are plugging in your questions, while we are waiting to get to those, because we know we've got just a little bit of a lag time on these live broadcasts, so we're about 30 seconds ahead of where you guys are seeing it. So we are going to let you know just a couple of things while you are plugging those questions in. So I'm really excited because every single week on Young Adult Edition, we have the honor of giving you some really cool stuff from our amazing authors, and today is no exception. So every single week, we always offer you a sample chapter or a couple of chapters for you to check out from the book written by the author we are talking to that day. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to plug that in. So if you do not have your copy of Queen of Someday, you can jump onto our Facebook page and download that. Up at the top near our header, there is a button called Learn More, and you can download it from there starting tomorrow. But right now, we are going to be dropping this in the chat box. And if you are watching our rebroadcast, do not worry because it will be down in the show notes. So you will have direct access to that first chapter of the book so you can decide if this is a good fit for you. Now, this is not the only thing we're leaving you with today. This is our second episode, and we are still going strong with the love and with the gifts. And Sherry has brought a special gift for us today. So, Sherry, why don't you tell us what you brought?
I have. As a special edition for the newsletter, or for this show, anybody that signs up for my newsletter at my website this month gets a copy not just of the first Queen book for free, but of 4 of my best-selling titles. So you can go over there, sign up for my newsletter, grab 4 free ebooks. It's sherryficklin.com/newsletter.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I truly appreciate it. You get all sorts of fun things from Sherry today, more than I knew about. So yay for that. We need some extra confetti for that. Yay that. And it looks like we've got some questions. All right. So let's see. Travis would like to know, what is your favorite book that you wrote, and what is your favorite that was written by somebody else? So let's do yours first, and then someone else's book.
My favorite of my books is definitely Losing Logan, which is it's a standalone, and it is a contemporary ghost story comedy romance, which sounds really strange, but it works. It's just it's a little quirky thing, and it's my favorite thing that I ever wrote, I think. And the favorite thing I've ever read by somebody else is probably, I'm actually a huge kind of sci-fi fantasy junkie, and I really like the Wizard's First Rule series by Terry Goodkind. Those are probably my favorites. So it's like a long series, like forever. But that's my favorite series.
Fantastic. Connie would like to know, do you travel? No, wait. You do a lot of traveling for promotion for your books. Have you ever come to PennCon in St. Louis, or do you ever plan on coming to St. Louis?
I was scheduled to be at PennCon this year, and then about a month before, I found out I was going to have surgery the week before PennCon. So my doctor was like, no flying. So I had to back out of PennCon this year, which really made me sad. It was going to be my first year. So we are hoping to get to do it next year. So it's on the tentative schedule. So hopefully I'll be up in St. Louis next year.
Hey, and just a quick shout out, if you happen to be an author in our audience today, or if you're hanging out on our rebroadcast and you are an author, last week on our educational channel, RTTV, Sherry was actually on, and we were talking about book signings and book conventions. So that is something that you should definitely check out, because she has so much information to offer to authors. And if you are at all interested in doing that, check out that episode. That's already up on YouTube. You can find it on our website and on our YouTube channel. It was a really great episode. So it looks like, oh, here's one. You're going to like this one. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Will there be another book in the Losing Logan series?
Oh, that's so hard. Short answer, probably yes. It's not, the Losing Logan stories are Logan and Zoe, and I feel like Zoe's portion of the story is really over, but I'd love to do some more with Logan. So I have many, many ideas for more Logan stories, which I hope to be able to put out eventually as my schedule permits.
Oh, goodness. It looks like Connie is going to come see you when you come hang out in St. Louis, so yay that.
Maybe.
Okay. So we want to know, what is the hardest thing about being a writer? So for you, what is the absolute hardest thing about being an author?
Oh, yeah, this job is just terrible as I'm trying to think about it. I think the hardest thing, especially early on, is just when you get really terrible reviews, particularly when they're reviews that not necessarily that you disagree with, but like reviews that, like, for example, I got a 1-star review because they said that the Queen books were written for a young adult audience. And I was like, well, yes, they are, in fact, young adult. Like, sorry. And it's really frustrating when you get this kind of negative feedback, especially at first. It's hard to handle. And no amount of good reviews cancel out a bad review. So you kind of have to develop a really thick skin and really sort of just be able to let stuff roll off. Or if you're me, I just bake a lot and eat a lot of junk food. So I have probably easily 15 pounds of bad review just hanging out with me all the time.
Well, I mean, food is a fantastic thing. So if you like baking and cooking, that's a great way to deal with everything. And I know you've got a family, so it takes care of your family. So it all works, right?
It all balances.
Oh, yes. Now, well, we are coming to the vet. We always do something really awesome at Young Adult Edition, and every single week that we have the show, we always ask our authors for an exclusive piece of information, and I know you have something really awesome for us today. I'm excited about it. I kind of want to tell your secret, but I'm going to let you do it, so tell us what you've got.
Okay. So my big secret is, the Queen trilogy is complete with the 3 books of Stolen Empire series, but I did just get a contract with Clean Teen Publishing to do a spin-off series, which is a prequel series of the Stolen Empire series, which is called the Conquered Empire series. And book 1 is Throne of Contention, and it is about Elizabeth of Russia, who you see throughout this series. And Sergei, our favorite Sergei, makes his very first appearance in that series as well. So we'll get to see kind of their history going forward. And again, it was one of those situations where I wasn't sure. I had never heard of Elizabeth of Russia until I did the research on Catherine. And I realized how very similar their stories really were and how much Catherine became like Elizabeth. And so, again, I saw that opportunity to really take a dynamic woman in history and explore how she became who she became. So it's just going to be fantastic. So if you love the Queen books, get ready, because this is going to be great.
We totally love the Queen books. I almost had them fanned out right. We totally love them. I'm so excited. I know at one point I had actually seen your inspiration board in the background of a picture that you put up on your site, and I grilled you because I saw Sergey on it. I really wanted to know what was happening. So I am thrilled to pieces for this. I cannot wait. I definitely hope you come back and hang out with us for a book launch live party when they come out, because it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. And I volunteer to read things the second you have them done. The second you have it done, I will read that. I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat room would too. Looks like they're hanging out there ready for more. So I am so thrilled. Now we are right at the end of our time. We've got just a minute or two left. And I like to end our young adult edition episodes with a kisses and confetti. And so with kisses and confetti, we always do kisses for the things that we love and confetti for the people we love. So I'm going to ask you to pick one thing and one person that you have loved this week, and we're going to give them kisses and confetti. And you guys in the chat room can do that too. So kisses are for the things that we love, and confetti is for the people we love. So go ahead and give that a shout out. Let us know in the chat room what you are loving on this week. And Sherry, tell me, who are your kisses and confetti for this week?
My kisses this week is going to my very favorite nail company, who's Espionage Cosmetics. And because I'm really cheap about doing my fingernails, so they make these great wraps that are super nerdy with like comic book stuff. And I use these like crazy. And so thank you, mwah, Espionage Cosmetics. You saved my bacon for not having my nails done all the time. And my confetti this week is going out to Nerd Girl Official, who are my super biggest fan crew and just totally awesome people to work with. So big confetti for Nerd Girl. Thanks.
Fantastic. Well, yay for confetti for everybody and everything that we love this week, as it sticks in my hair. Well, Sherry, thank you so much for hanging out with us on our second episode of Young Adult Edition. This has been so much fun. We've learned some really amazing things. The rebroadcast is going to be up later this week. And all the things we have talked about today, guys, if you are watching during the rebroadcast, will be down in the show notes. So you will have links to Sherry's website and her social media. You will have links to where you can buy her books on Amazon, and you can check them out on Goodreads. And we will be dropping some of that in the chat room before you guys leave after we sign off. And make sure that you are getting that freebie sample chapter that we dropped in the chat box if you are with us live, or down in the show notes if you are watching later on. And you can check out our Facebook page tomorrow. So we will have that up right under our header. We're going to drop the link to our Facebook page right now in the chat room. There it is. You can go ahead and jump on. That's down in the show notes too. And you can get this week's sample chapter. So if you are in our rebroadcast on YouTube later on, you can jump onto our Facebook page and you can get this week whoever we are interviewing. And if you're with us within this first week after our second episode here, you can get Sherry's sample too. And remember, Sherry is giving away her books. She's giving away the first books from several of her series. All 4 of them she's given away. And one more time, Sherry, just remind us where we can grab that.
SherryFicklin.com.
And you have to sign up for her newsletter, and we'll be good to go. So, guys, make sure you are jumping onto Sherry's website, her social media, and saying hey this week, letting her know that you loved her episode. During this week, we will be putting out some clips from the episode and some quotes from the episode. So make sure you are promoting that, you are liking that, you are sharing that, you are commenting on that, so that we know what you love. Now, if you have an author you would love to see on Young Adult Edition, make sure you are jumping over into our chat box and letting me know, or jumping onto our Facebook page and letting me know. Bonus points if you jump onto our Facebook page and tag them so that you know that they have seen that you want them on the show, because we would love to have them and hang out with them. Sherry, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. And if you have loved this, jump on to www.readingtransforms.com, where you can have access to our communities, our Facebook groups, our online courses and our classes, and the amazing projects that we're working on with our authors. And hey, there's even some stuff for you book bloggers out there. So make sure you are jumping on to www.readingtransforms.com, and we will see you there. Have a great day, guys. Stay inspired.